the crisis of the moment is a report last week by the CIA that the CIA, maybe not all the intelligence agencies, has concluded all of them agree that Russia was involved in trying to influence the election, or maybe sow confusion in some way. Maybe originally it was to sow confusion.
Mm-hmm.
The CIA has gone further and saying, no, they were just not trying to stir things up. They actually wanted to help Donald Trump win. At least, two Republicans, one led by John McCain and Lindsey Graham, have said this requires some congressional action. Here is John McCain.
Clear the Russians interfered. Now, whether they intended to interfere to the degree that they were trying to elect a certain candidate, I think that's a subject of investigation.
And that investigation has been called on for by McCain and Lindsey Graham and Chuck Schumer and Jack Reed. Mm-hmm. So 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans. What are you hearing from members of Congress? Is there support across the board for this kind of an investigation?
Well, what's kind of interesting is that...
Pardon me if I can, just because we know that Donald Trump has said, it's ridiculous.
He's called it ridiculous. He's called it an excuse from Democrats. He has said that on Fox News yesterday, and he also said in the interview that Time Magazine did for its Person of the Year feature. I think the quote was like, "It could have been Russia, it could have been China, it could have been some dude in his basement in New Jersey." Like he's really trying to cast doubt on the fact that the Russians were meddling in this election. But now you have these 4 senators, very 4 powerful, influential voices in each of their parties. And what was interesting is that statement came out early yesterday morning. Obviously, you had a lot of senators on the Sunday shows talking, just about the news of the week. And you had a few more voices come out and say, look, I support their calls for an investigation. This should not be a partisan issue. So Rand Paul, who was on one of the shows yesterday, said, look, I support an investigation. I think this needs to be looked into. I believe James Langford tweeted yesterday, who's a Republican from Oklahoma, that he supported the effort from these four senators. And we'll see if more calls come out as the week goes. But I think the fact that these 4 senators, they made it a point to be like, we're Republicans and Democrats. We're trying not to make this into a partisan issue. We'll see how much that increases the pressure on other senators, particularly Mitch McConnell, who's having a news conference with us later today, where he will almost surely be asked about the calls for an investigation, what he believes in terms of Russia's influence in the election, and all the other related questions that we have.
All right. Isn't it true that if Mitch McConnell doesn't want an investigation, there will be no investigation?
Pretty much. In John McCain's ideal world, he talked yesterday about wanting even a official select committee to investigate this. Now, that would actually require a vote to set this up. Obviously, Mitch McConnell would have control over that. But I think it's...
He wouldn't even allow a vote, right?
We would have to ask him today to see what he says. But I'm not quite sure what he will say when we ask him these questions later today, because obviously now very powerful voices in his party are talking about an investigation. But if you look over on the House side, we asked Speaker Ryan about this yesterday, or his aides about this, and he said his spokeswoman released a statement saying we agree that this cybersecurity issues, potential foreign interference is not a partisan issue, but he did not say he would support calls for an investigation, which I think is a very important note to distinguish, and maybe Mitch McConnell would go along
because
with that
he doesn't want to cross Donald Trump. And I want to go back to let's be totally crass about Mitch McConnell. His wife got a job from right. She's the secretary.
She has been. She's nominated for Secretary of Transportation.
Transportation,
yes,
right? Yeah. Okay. So there's no way Mitch McConnell's going to cross Donald Trump.
We'll see what he says later today.
Let's be honest, he's not right.
And that was
Donald Trump will take the job away from Elaine Chao.
One of the points that was made in that very explosive report by the Post last week, when it talked about the CIA assessment, was they had some details about a classified briefing that was attended by Mitch McConnell, where he raised doubts on the veracity of these issues. Right. Now, we've asked Senator McConnell's office for a comment on that. They refused to say anything, citing the classified nature of the briefings. But that's also something that he's going to have to face in the coming days as well.
So take a break here, but let me just sum up. I think what you're telling us, that the CIA now is saying, again, that Russia deliberately interfered in this election, cyber warfare, hacking, in order to influence the outcome, tip the scales on behalf of Donald Trump. And it's possible that the United States Congress will do nothing about it.
It is very possible, yes.
Put that in your pipe and smoke it.